Hey guys, we're back again today talking about the UMX Whipit from Eflite. I had a chance to get out today and fly this a little sooner than I thought I would. I'm very impressed overall. It was a little bit windy when I got out to fly. You'll see that in the videos I've got coming up after this. We're going to talk a little bit about some things to get the Whipit ready to fly, a couple questions I've had about it, a few things like that. So the first thing we're going to go into is setting up the custom mix for your tail surfaces. So when you're launching this thing, like I said before, since you're whipping it from, at least for me, from the right like this, my mix is down elevator and right elevator because it's going to want to pull to the left. In the video you'll see I did one launch without the mix, and this model really will balloon up and want to come all the way around in a loop on you, and you don't want that because that just kills your altitude when you're launching. So if you look on my DX6 here, I'm using the DX6 Black from Spectrum. We flip it on. Try to get the right camera angle. Alright, so what we're going to do here is make sure I can have y'all see that, and I'm going to talk through everything. First you go to mixing, and I have set up in PMix1 elevator to elevator and in PMix2 aileron to aileron. First we're going to click on PMix1 and select elevator to elevator in the top row. In the second row we're going to select the rate to be 100% on the left and 15% on the right. Now when it says offset, go to -10%, trim to act, and I have switch A set up because that is the most convenient for me. Now we're going to go to PMix2. Aileron to aileron is what we're going to select up in the top row. It's really actually elevator to elevator on the, not elevator to elevator, rudder to rudder on the model, but because of the way the receiver is set up, since it's a 2-channel model, the receiver thinks that the rudder is the aileron. So make sure you select aileron to aileron. Now where it says rate, you're going to put 0% on the left, 100% on the right. Offset is 10%, trim act, and switch is switch A. And that's all there is to it. It should work then. Next thing I'm going to show you is I set up a custom voice setup on here for my switch A. So in position 0, that's my thermal mode. That's the one without any mix. And position 1 is my launch mode, and that is the one with the mix. So you can listen to the voice command I set up.
Thermal mode.
That is no mix at all.
Launch mode.
And that is the mix right there. And that's all there is to it, guys. Pretty simple stuff. Alright. Now, like I said, I did have a chance to get out and fly this model today. I'm really impressed with it, but it really does need the mix when you're launching it. My longest flight today actually was javelin launching it like this. I flew it for 41 seconds because I got it into a pretty good thermal and it went up. Now normally, if you're just javelin launching it like this, you're going to have pretty short flight times, and you'll see my very first flight with it, the first video that will be playing after I'm done talking. I did javelin launch it, that was the first flight, and it didn't go very far, so that's going to be the norm when you do that. I did notice that just flicking it like this, I was getting slightly longer flights than doing a full discus turn around. And make sure when you push over the top that you turn the mix off before you do that, because this thing is very sensitive on the elevator. I personally haven't dialed in any expos, and on gliders I really don't like it. On bigger aerobatic airplanes like the Stearman behind me, I have dialed in expos, but for gliders I really prefer not to have any of that. So this has no expo, so it's very sensitive to the pitch, especially when you have that mix on. If you forget to turn it off, instead of leveling off nicely, you're going to be coming back down like this and lose a whole lot of your altitude. And you'll probably panic and pull up too much and stall, and I did that a few times. Lost a lot of altitude on some good launches. Other than that, this is a really great glider. I'm very impressed overall with it. I didn't have any of the problems some people were saying with the vertical stabilizer wanting to pull out, and I did not reinforce it with any tape or anything like that. Some people were saying that this hatch here wants to fly off when you're launching it. I didn't have that problem. Stayed on really nicely, and some people were saying if it hits the ground nose first, this pod likes to break off, so I guess they must have been hitting it really hard because I had some bad landings. I nosed it in right on the nose, and there's no rips, tears, breaks, or anything like that. It looks like it just came out of the box for me. So, knock on wood, let's hope it stays that way. Alright, that's pretty much it for this little Whipit right now. I almost called it the LaBelle. This isn't the LaBelle. The Whipit, great little model. So I highly suggest you go out and pick one up from your local hobby shop, order it off of Horizon Hobby, eflite.com, whatever you want to do. whatever you do, get this in your hangar. It's a great little airplane. Alright guys, enjoy the footage.
Windy.
Yeah, that mix really helps out without it.
Pretty cool.
I'm going to turn up the rudder throw a little bit. It's not quite enough. Hey guys, one more time I'm going to talk to you a couple things I left out before the footage of this thing flying. I did two things to this. You probably just heard me say in that last little clip, I turned the rudder throw up as far as it would go. So it's at 150% each way now. At 100% it was turning, it was flying alright, but for the small park I was in and the gusty conditions getting tossed around, I really needed that extra little bit of turn, and for the rest of the hour I was out flying, it did just fine. It flew really well, and the winds did die down a little bit, and I left it on there. The 150% will work well. Another question I had that I forgot to address before the flying footage was the balance point. I have a 25C 150 milliamp hour battery. Doesn't come with it. I had one laying around, and some people were saying in the nose where it goes right here, it leaves it a little tail heavy. I balanced it right on the spar. I didn't read the manual to see exactly where they said. I just estimated about what looked right. The spar is usually where you balance a model, and balancing it like that, you see it's perfect, and it flew amazingly. I actually had to put a couple of clicks of up trim, so that would indicate that it may be a little bit nose heavy. But it flies perfectly. I'm not changing anything. I'm not cutting out any extra foam, move the battery forward or back. It's perfect the way it is. So guys, really don't have to worry about the CG being off. And if you watched my last video, you don't have to worry about this guy being moved too far back. So a lot of the big worries about this thing coming out, really don't have to worry about it. Alright guys, happy flying, happy landings, and fun building.